Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Rich. All right, welcome to part 4 or part 5 of Render Like Wrightson. I don't even know. I don't even know if it matters. Does it matter? It might. Camera seems to be shooting very yellow today. It's super overcast outside, and my lights apparently cast a yellow tinge. All right, brand new quill. This is a Hunt 102, brand new. I've not even thrown one line with it. It could be terrible. It could be great. I'm using kind of a combination of inks. It's not intentional. It's just sort of like I just freshened my ink with some Vortex ink, but I was using Vortex and Ultra Draw and even a little bit of water because I've been working a lot, and you know, I just need to get stuff done right now. So anyway, I thought I would ink some bottles. I've got 20 minutes. I'm cutting it off at 20 minutes on the nose today because I got hard pages. They're pretty much as detailed as this, honestly. It's just not everywhere. But yeah, they're really, really time consuming. I'm inking Ed Benes on a Batman Deathstroke thing. I'm 12 pages into it, so I have 8 left. It's turned out real nice. Follow me on Instagram. I've been posting little teasers and stuff like that, and yeah, you can see what I'm up to. And I wanted to thank all my Patreon supporters. I had 2 new Patreon supporters pop up over the weekend, which was very, very awesome. So thank you guys so much. You know, I will say that today, doing the video, Patreon is what got me to do it, because I'm tired. I'm just like, you know what I mean? I'm in the middle of like a really, really hard job. So doing more is like not really what I want to do, but it's all right, babies. I got this. But yeah, so this thing is like, nib seems to be working good. Again, I mentioned in the other videos, I like when I have to do a set of lines like this, it's not that challenging for me to do, and it's slow, so sometimes I'll rush a little bit. So if you see me throwing down lines and they're not really like matching up exactly with what Burning has down here, it's just like I'm trying to get the video, I'm trying to get as much progress as I can without making this like a 60-hour 25-month video. So it's tricky because I don't want to do a speed video because that really doesn't benefit anyone. So I try to have the best of both worlds, and what I found is just maybe like kind of flying through little areas. I mean, you get the point. It's like you want to be careful and you want to trace each line, but if I do that through this whole piece, well, it'll never get done for the video. So just, you know, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get the values right and then show the overall approach to like how you do it. And I'm almost thinking about maybe like we need to mix in another style of inking, because this really, although I mean, look, you can carry this over and use this methodology in many different looks. You know, most people don't probably work this way. So, you know, like doing a super drawn out demo of this is maybe not necessary. It might be fun to watch, but you know what I mean? Like, so let me know in the comments below. Like, I mean, I could try something else. I mean, I really, what I want to do is as soon as I finish this deadline, I'm going to get back working on my own stuff, and so I can just do demos that way, because I'm going to probably experiment with a few styles, because I don't really like, to me, style is like kind of it's sort of a bullshit term, because so what's my style? I've inked dozens of different people. Every time I take a job, I do a different style, quote unquote. So what does that mean exactly? Like, if I draw Batman, I might draw him in one style, and then if I draw something else, it might be in a different style. Obviously, you need to have consistency if you're doing a book, but I think within that, I mean, you know, there still is a lot of room to try stuff. So, you know, I don't know. I don't know if I would ever limit myself with like just kind of like one approach to things, but maybe I'm wrong. But like, I guess an example would be like, so if I could work on this, and then if J. Scott Campbell called me and said, hey, could you ink a piece for me? I would ink it totally differently than I'm working on this right now. And it wouldn't really be a big deal for me to switch gears to that, because I'm familiar with that style of what Jeff sort of expects with inks. Although he inks himself a little bit different, but he also, you know, he doesn't have like the exact skill set as say like Alex Garner did inking him or whoever. So it's just kind of one of those things. But you know, if I was going to ink Joe Madureira, I would do that different than this. And some people have been mentioning that they see like a little bit of this spilling over into like my current work that I'm doing. It's more of just a coincidence, honestly. I mean, I get what the observation was, but at the same time, I think if you went back and actually looked at like some of my other work, you'd probably see that stuff had popped up way before I did this. And it was kind of a concern of mine, honestly, is like, if I do this and then I do a black drawing, people are going to go, oh yeah, see, there you go, Rich does the black drawings because he's, you know, like a Wrightson disciple, and I like Bernie's stuff a lot, but it was never an influence on like my personal black drawing work, other than the fact that I think he definitely showed that you could do really detailed work, but it wasn't really like, I don't think I set out to do his techniques and that, and they're different. There's, if you really break it down, microbially, there's a lot of differences actually, but I think at the surface, because it's very detailed pen and ink work, it's comparable, which is fine. But yeah, you know, whenever it's you leave breadcrumbs behind for people to sort of like try to patch things together in terms of like your story or your sort of like motives. And this was just kind of more of a coincidence. I was just trying to find something that was a little different to post on YouTube, and this just kind of fit. But again, I don't know how relevant it is to everybody that follows my YouTube channel, so that's the only thing that I worry about, is doing a super long, drawn-out video like this might not totally be like what people want to see. So again, you know, communication in the comment section always really helps, and can kind of steer me in directions that maybe would be more interesting or fun to see. You know, and someone had posted on like Instagram, I had started sort of dissecting some superhero comics, and they're like, are you ever going to show how to draw superheroes? And I couldn't find the message. I wanted to reply to them and just say, well, what superhero do you want to see me draw? So if there's something that you want to see me draw, let me know, because again, it's not a big deal, and you know, if someone gives me a good idea, then I'll go for it, and I can do it here. So anyway, it is interactive, and doing less days, it's been harder to keep up with some of the things that I started, but it's all right. I mean, I don't want people to think that I don't finish things I start, because it really isn't the case. I'm actually kind of the opposite of that. But you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to spam people either. So there's a delicate balance of that, and then also because you're sort of quote unquote entertaining an audience, things that don't get feedback, it's like, okay, well, you know, that's why the like button is really important, and commenting it is, but the like button helps. I mean, if you see a video and it gets a lot of likes, you go, all right, well, people like that. I mean, it's but yeah, so smash the like. I don't always say it. I think it's kind of obvious, but it definitely helps, you know, direct the channel too, for sure. So anyway, I hope everyone's doing well today. I usually say that in my videos. It's not a fake thing. I do actually hope that you're all doing well. Yeah, the pages I'm working on, honestly, I'm not even kidding. Like, I'd say they average like 13 hours But when you have to do them all just back to back to back to back, it is a lot of work, and it's, they kind of want you to do like one a day. And look, I'm a baller. I don't really have a problem working 7 days a week. I actually kind of prefer it. But when the days are that long, it's fun though. I actually like. I find myself, sometimes at the end of the day, I'll see a section that looks fun to ink, and I want to keep going. And most of the time, I have kind of like gone like, I'll just ink this like guy's rib cage or whatever it is, and it sounds like a simple thing, but sometimes like a rib cage on these pages can take like an hour. There's that much detail, kind of like the Wrightson stuff. So, yeah, well, okay, and speaking of that, okay, so the difference of my black drawing rendering style to this Wrightson stuff is Bernie was definitely going for a vintage look, a very kind of classic illustrated look. With my black drawing work, once I got rolling on them, I wasn't heading that direction. I didn't really start with that intent, and I didn't really kind of finish with that intent. I was trying to find a balance between almost like what you could maybe achieve with airbrush, but still looking like fantasy. So again, I wasn't going for this classic illustrated sort of etching, pen and ink, Franklin Booth, Joseph Clement Cole's look that Bernie pulls from more. And Frazetta, I do love it, but yeah, the black drawings weren't that. So maybe that kind of clarifies what I meant with that. But in terms of like the level of detail and artistry, yeah, for sure, Wrightson was, one of the early people that even made me aware that you could do that with comic art, like branch out from comic art and go that kind of direction. Do. It's funny, I have 2 panels to ink, and then I hopefully I'll be getting more pages this morning, but it's funny, the 2 panels are going to take like 4 hours. It's like, oh my gosh, so crazy. It's like, and it's not a lot of stuff too. That's the funny thing, is it's basically a girl from the shoulders up, but like her hair is going to take at least an hour just to do the head of hair. I'm actually going to post that on Instagram when I finish it. I'll have to kind of cover up her face, but yeah, I'll post that on Instagram. So again, if you don't follow me on Instagram, definitely check it out, because since I left Facebook for the most part, I think I'll definitely amp up my Instagram a bit. This is actually turning out cool. It's like, it always looks a little darker in the camera, but in person it's got a real nice look to it. It's like I said, like the camera viewfinder looks dark for me right now, so it could be that my camera went to some sort of default setting. Let me see what time it is real quick. I'm just gonna look behind me real fast. Okay, so we got a little time. We got some time, babies. We'll keep going on this. So what else? Super Fun Sunday, that Frank Miller book. That was fun. It was interesting. I had a thought. Let me think if I can think of it. Last night, I was thinking about Frank Miller's work, but then I was thinking about kind of like what I was working on. And Frank, it's you know what it is it doesn't have anything to do with Miller, but I still find it amazing how much detail comic book artists put into comic book pages now, compared to like what the original intent of comics was. And again, we're working on a Frankenstein piece. There's kind of a funny irony to that statement, but I mean, this isn't really for a comic either. But yeah, it's like, I don't know if like when comics was originally made, people thought that like guys or girls were going to be spending freaking, as long as it took Jack Kirby to probably draw like half a page, a special effect that probably the colorist is going to blur out and put some funky filter on. It's just weird. I don't know, like I sometimes question it. And it's weird because I think it's like, I want to sort of think that I think if it's not like, nobody's questioning it, so it's not getting questioned. Do you see what I'm saying? Is like, people enjoy seeing the art, but you could just as easily just do single one-off pieces and not spend that much time on a comic book page with that. Do you see what I'm saying? Is like, I don't know, it's a weird thing. I still think that there needs to be a level of like quality to the comic art, but yeah, the Image Comics did some weird stuff, and you know, the thing about that whole movement was most of those artists could not produce work at the pace that we do now. So it's an interesting thing, because it's like, okay, so we kept all the detail, but yet the deadlines went right back to what they were, whereas Image was notorious for not making their deadlines. You know what I'm saying? It's an interesting thing. It's something that I wonder about. But again, it's like, who do you bring that up to? You don't go to a penciler and go, you know, you really don't need to put all that detail. No one, you know, maybe ultimately cares. Like, and again, as I sit and spend, you know, I'll spend an hour on this little orb here, but this is an illustration. It is different. So anyway, what do you think? I'm gonna kick out some topics. Well, what's interesting too is you watch Jim Lee on Twitch and you see how fast he pounds through pieces. I mean, you can really get a pretty nice quality of stuff in a pretty fast amount of time. So it can be done. The level of skill that you need should be quite high. Assuming that these are like little ropes that are just catching some shadow that he's got here, so I'm kind of trying to make it look like coiled rope. They're not, I don't want to zoom in on it yet. We'll do a zoom at the end, and also I'll put a link to my Patreon. I'll snap a photo of this so you can see it a little closer. But if you're watching this on a computer screen, I mean, I shoot at 1080. If you pull it full screen, you should be getting a decent view. But yeah, and it's when I say that, it's not me being lazy. You know, some guy kind of commented on one of my things, and I don't think he knew really what my resume was. And I'm not bragging. I've done a lot of comic books, and he didn't really know my background in terms of drawing. He just saw the video and then was like da 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 da. And I wrote him back, and of course he didn't reply. But you know, I've done tons of very, very detailed comics, so it's not like I'm not like anti it, but I don't know if those stand the test of time more? Do they tell better stories than just well thought out stuff that maybe has thoughtfully placed detail? I don't know if you need to render a head of hair on a head that's the size of, like, you know, a pea, but people do. And once it's shrunk down and colored, I don't even know if you really can see it. But I'm guilty of this, where I kind of work a lot of times for the original art. As much as I work for the published work, it's like a nice original is kind of also the target. Because comic art is just, it's so collectible, it's so valuable. And it's interesting too, because even like I follow like a lot of illustrators and fine artists and kind of like the lowbrow and all that stuff, and you know, comic art sells for more, and some of these artists are really, really good. I mean, they would be fantastic you know, like additions to comic art. There's a different skill set, but you know, I mean, like, they're great artists, but you know, their stuff sometimes doesn't sell for even half of what a comic book piece sells for. So it's interesting, you know. Comics is definitely entrenched in people's minds, and I think that there's because of the history of it, there's a known value that, like, if you hang on to a really iconic piece of comic art long enough, you could make bank on it. That is 100% possible, and people do. And so Sorry if I'm falling out of the frame. It's the camera is just, it's really difficult to have where I can ink comfortably and film it, as I move the page around a lot, and I also generally I'm usually right on top of the page. Right now I'm way further back than I would normally be, which kind of affects my control a bit. But yeah, this is really fun though. I mean, this is like, I do actually really enjoy going on this adventure of trying this stuff. It's fun. I'm being more mindful of the viewfinder now, so again, I apologize if the last like 10 minutes you've been yelling at the screen going like, dude, move it, please. Again, I'm kind of rushing here, but it's like, to sit and try to mimic each line is kind of, it will take too long. But if you're really going to do the piece and you had thrown down like very specific lines, you definitely want to be careful and try to get them matching up. It's fun. Fun stuff. Okay, so let's see. What should we do next? Go through this little bar right here. Again, remember the edges. Don't outline stuff if you're going to do this style. You want to let the forms create the edges. I caught the page was like kind of sinking down. I'm like, oh, I might be out of frame. It's also, the camera's tilted at a tiny bit of an angle, so if it looks a little distorted, that might be why. This nib isn't exactly as sharp as I would like it right now. Normally I would switch tools to something something that's getting more of the look that I want, but I don't. It needs, like, these lines should have been more pointy. Yeah, the read on the camera is really, really dark. It's funny. So these I'm going thin to thick. So I start as light as possible, and then I'm pushing down heavier as I move the line. It's absolutely incredible that Bernie thought this stuff up, though. I mean, man, talk about a commitment. The work is just brilliant. It's really unbelievable. It's so easy to take it for granted, and you know, like, because it's done, we see it, and we just kind of enjoy the sort of result. But dude, he crafted this stuff. It's unbelievable. It really is. It's so badass. Really sucks that the guy passed away, because, man, he was still doing really good work. That was the thing. So his health failed him. Sucks. Yeah, when you work on a style like this, and this is kind of what I've been doing on Ed's stuff, Ed Bennis, that Batman Deathstroke stuff I was referring to, is I really do just attack one like small area like this, and you just kind of dig in and do it. There's no point in hopping around, and you want to keep the work consistent and really kind of draw each thing that you're doing. So the best bet if you're doing something this labor intensive is to just kind of move through it pretty methodically, and it'll save you some like heartaches, I think, down the road, because if it's a well-planned piece, then it will work. And I mean, we're working over, you know, a master illustrator with this, so he's done the heavy lifting on that. I mean, inking it is actually not a big deal once you know, like, you have sort of the basic skills. It's a little difficult for me to see with the blue line what exactly is going on here. Kind of looking for perspective right now. Did anyone have fun over Memorial Day weekend? Do anything cool? I had to go to the store yesterday, and I was behind a lady, and she was buying all this like stuff for like a barbecue. She had like 6 bottles of wine and watermelon and like steaks and this like some sort of organic chicken thing, and I was like, dang, I want to go with her. Where's she going? I was like grabbing stuff to make for dinner and headed back home and worked. I got super crazy and I bought myself spicy chicken wings. Yeah, this is turning out really cool. It looks neat. It definitely rewards you for your hard work. Yeah, I don't know how many more videos we should do of this. What do you guys think? Let me know, because I'm kind of like, I don't know what to do. I don't know, like, if I need to do more or what. Like, tell me if there's like a spot you want to see me do, something small that we can maybe knock out one more video. I'm just feeling like I don't want this video to like go too long. It's just a concern. It's the insanity level might have gone too high. Odds are this is probably hatched. So I'm going to do this. I can't really see it. It's just like a big muddy blue, but my guess is that he probably has lines going 2 directions. I can kind of vaguely see that there's like little bits and pieces of white through here. So I'm going to try to take this to about a 90% black with my like line work. And then I'll throw another line through it going aesthetically pleasing direction and turn this into basically a black. So right now, I don't know if you can see, if there's a lot of white that goes through here. It reads a little dark on the camera, like I'm looking at right now. It seems a little darker, but I'll do this area too. Okay, actually, keep it consistent with that other thing. That's the other thing too. If you're doing patterns of pretty intense rendering, you want to keep them consistent if you're sort of indicating the same thing, meaning I'm trying to show darkness that falls behind the monster that kind of is peeking through these shelves. Again, I'll throw a second hatch through this in just a second. It almost doesn't need it. Got tons of paper on my nib right now on the end. How fun. Oh, it's looking kind of neat. It's so dark on my camera. My goodness. I'll pull the camera out in just a second. Let me just finish this one little thing. I want to let this dry. I'll throw a second hatch through it really fast. And then we'll call it a wrap because we're at 30 minutes. Yeah, so doing this, okay, like this hatch that I'm doing right now is kind of more of a vintage look. When I do the black drawings, I was almost going for a very kind of cutting edge and slicker like line, but the drawings aren't as tight at times. It's a real tricky balance because I don't want the stuff to look, see, and that reads almost black, but if you actually look, you see that there's little hatches in there, but that basically reads black, which is fine. It's kind of what I want. I may even go in and kind of rip up the paper a little tiny bit more because I don't want it to be too interesting. But yeah, at my best, the black drawings had very, very tight rendering that was pretty methodical and less organic. And then hopefully that the drawings had a looseness and an openness to them that kind of blended the two, because really tight photorealistic art I don't think is very, it can be kind of boring. Okay, so I think that's good for today. Hopefully I didn't rant too much, but you know, it's all relevant stuff and it's all meant as fun. I'm not really crazy about like how I did that orb. It looks a little wonky to me, but it's all right. Like I said, it was just to kind of get the idea of what was down. So, all right, cool. Like, I'm thinking I may just do one more video on this and then kind of call this a wrap, because everything else is going to be a little bit repetitive. But if you spot anything that you want me to see me to do, you want to see me do, let me know and I could do it. I could do like the monsters, like arm, maybe like this area in here or something. That might be kind of cool, like do this little area. Yeah, you know what? That's what I'll do. I'll do that and then we'll call it a wrap. So I'll link this hand and then this area here, and then it'll be done. It's good enough. All right, cool. All right, I'll talk to you later. Check out Patreon and Instagram. All right, bye.